The MBR novel idea paper is the place where you can propose bold new theories or identify interesting new practices that really have not been explored in the research before and hopefully are not that well known in practice either. An MBR, a new idea paper or novel idea paper, is expected to start with some sort of research question or business problem that's of practical importance to manager, present highlights of the literature relating to that question, specifically identifying the fact that we don't actually have a good idea as to how to solve this. It will then propose some alternative theory or conceptual scheme which might be applied to the business problem that can offer us some new insights. It can explore how these might be applied using real-world examples and maybe identify strengths and weaknesses of the idea in terms of addressing the questions that ask. The big thing about the novel idea paper, though, is we want it to be something that really has not been looked at before. When your novel idea paper is reviewed, the reviewers are first going to be looking at the significance of the question that you're asking. I mean, is this a question of general interest to managers that you're proposing a new way of looking at? The originality of the proposed theory or conceptual scheme. Even if the theory is original in the literature, it might not be that original in practice. So you want to make sure that what you're dealing with really is novel. The degree to which the theory or conceptual scheme you're proposing is going to be novel to practicing managers, which is saying the same thing. The degree to which the analysis using your theory is likely to be of practical value to managers and also to researchers. And finally, of course, the degree to which the findings are presented in a way that's going to engage the reader, which is true for all MBR templates. The instructions are the same as those for other MBR templates. You save the document using whatever name you want to use for your submission. You can delete this page of instructions and once again follow the normal template rules. Use headings in the style sheet. Use title style and most important, fill out this reviewer appendix at the end of the template. This appendix is not going to be included in the published article, but is the way that the reviewers will determine if your submission is sufficiently rigorous to be included in the MBR. The novel idea paper is going to have the standard MBR cover page. In that cover page, you are going to have the title, you are going to have a tagline. The tagline is very important because it's going to be what is used to describe the paper on the cover of the journal, on the website. If we send out Twitter feeds or Facebook feeds, the tagline is going to be there, so it should be something that should really engage someone's attention so that they're actually going to be willing to click on the link and go to the article and read it. You have a series of keywords here. This is going to help the search engines find the article when people are searching for it, other researchers, and then an executive summary. And unlike the tagline and keywords, the executive summary will be included in the body of the paper. It's very important because it's the thing that a reader is going to look at first to decide whether or not they are going to actually continue to read the paper. The MBR novel idea paper follows a fairly standard organization. The introduction should explain the business problem that this novel idea is going to address, whether it be a new theory or some new practice that has been observed. And it should be, half a page or less. We want to get to the idea quickly, but we want to make sure the reader understands it's important. We would also have a very quick review of research. And the idea here is not a complete literature review. Rather, it is a review that will help convince the reader that this idea really is novel and is not just recycling something that's already well understood in the literature. You can then talk about the proposed idea or theory, explain how it would be applied in the next section, and ideally give an example of how it would be applied. A real-world example is best, but if you have to, a hypothetical example that clarifies where this would be useful would be acceptable. You can then have a discussion where your findings are sort of synthesized, and hopefully you might be able to frame it in terms of the academic literature, but that's not required because, once again, we're trying to target practice with these articles, and so what we're really interested in is an idea that is going to make practice very interested. You can then have your conclusions, and your conclusions are going to be self-contained, because very often a reader will jump to the conclusions before jumping to the body of the paper. So it's got to be self-contained enough so that the reader can get an incentive to actually study the paper in order to understand the conclusions. And your references should be in APA format. The novel idea paper reviewer appendix is a little different from some of the other reviewer appendices, because the main thing that you're trying to do is make the argument that the idea that you are presenting is both original and useful. So we're interested in your describing the theory development and also how you searched the literature and other sources in order to figure out that what you're proposing actually is novel. And we have a number of different specific questions that you might answer here. Beyond that, you can sort of describe your discussions and conclusions, and of course, you can assure us that anything that you're using, you have permission to be used. But in the novel idea paper, because what we're dealing with is something relatively new, we don't have the same requirement to systematically document every step of the way that we do in some of the other templates.